Okay, so the car does sick burnouts. Now I need to get the thing wrapped up so we can actually go drive it, hopefully test drive it before I load it up on the trailer for a drift event. All right, we got the car taken apart. I'm gonna get the Wisefab on it using the same method as my old video. Gonna slap this on the same way, and we're also gonna get our field suspension on. So we got some Wisefab, and this thing is bolted on. That is insane. We're definitely gonna have to do some clearance in on this. This is gonna go, but we got some blue on the car finally. Hell yeah. All right, I got the Wisefab on and it is sick. So I think I can get a little bit more angle out of it. It's not maxed out. It looks freaking awesome. We're talking 65 degrees of angle probably out of this thing right now. Super stoked. Everything bolted up just like it should. The only thing I kind of had some issues with was the sway bar links, because I had the Feel 441 sway bar links. They mount to the strut, and with all the angle it kept loosening the sway bar links. Hopefully it works out fine. And then this time I did use a hole saw because it looks a lot cleaner. All right, now that we got the Wisefab on, we need to get some power steering in this thing. So we teamed up with Hang Tight Racing. Their website's hangtight.io, and we have their whole kit here. It's super nice, all loomed, has nice Deutsch connectors in it, and this is their flying lead kit. We did get a simple setup since it's going in the factory car, so we're just using a simple adjuster versus a PWM control, but they do offer that. And then we got a used Dodge Charger pump here, and I gotta find a place for this to fit because I'm running out of room. But this thing should tuck into this hole somewhere. All you have to do is hook power and ground to this and she'll run. Well, that power steering, pretty simple. I forgot to mention too, they do have this adapter block. Make sure that you get one of these if you're running a charger pump, because all the other ones will leak. This won't leak. It's O-ringed and everything, ready to go. And it puts the fitting in a good spot too. All right, I got the pump mounted. It's really busy in here now. There's a lot of stuff in the area, but it's still easily fillable. It's actually like right at the top of the hood. Once everything gets tied up, it should be pretty decent. And now I need to do hoses. So the first thing I'm gonna do is mount the last piece of the puzzle, which is our transmission oil cooler. So I go online, buy a Class A transmission oil cooler, usually the cheapest one. It's pretty big. So it looks like this. And it's got 3/8 ins and outs. Usually comes with some fittings and some hose. So that's pretty good. They're like 50 bucks. It's even got the little mounts to put it on your radiator. So this is gonna just go right in front of the condenser, over here somewhere behind the bumper. Then the lines are gonna go from the return of the rack into this, and then to the return of the pump. So those are all low pressure, and then you make the one PTFE high pressure line from your pump to the top port on the rack, and then she's done. Okay, so I figured out what I'm gonna do with the harness. I'm gonna plug it into here, and I'm gonna run the whole control box and everything inside the car. It's got that huge pigtail on it. I'd like to have that switch over on the driver's side, and then this is long enough to pass through into the engine bay. So that's gonna be what I think is the easiest way to do it without having to worry about passing all those wires through and mounting the box under here. We're gonna just mount it under the dash somewhere. There's a little grommet here that goes right where the rest of the harnessing is. So I cut a little hole in that. I'm gonna de-pin this real quick, pass the wire through, and then put it all through the firewall. I don't know how, but I got super lucky, and I had a hose that fit perfectly for the pressure line. So I actually didn't even have to do any PTFE fittings. So I had an old line off the race car when I was running dual pumps, routed it down around under right with it, and into the rack over there. Already tightened up. Can't beat that. All right, we got our cooler installed here. Those little clips on that thing were crazy. They were two-piece, like zip tie ends. It was weird, but she's plumbed up time to fill her up with some driven power steering fluid. Never actually used this, but I'm hoping we'll get some good results out of it. And that cooler is going to definitely keep it cool. So it's actually like almost factory, dude. Man. I'm having some trouble trying to figure out where to mount this controller. It's not very big. I'm thinking I have all this space that can't really be used for a glove box, but I'd like to put the glove box face on. So I'm gonna cut the whole back of this. You can see it's freaking huge. Cut this and see how much we can use out of this and mount that controller. Okay, so I tried the glove box and it's there. It looks good. I gotta wipe it up because my hands are dirty, but there's no room behind it, so it's useless. But I want to see if this box will work, mostly if my pump will work. So I'm going to just hook it to the battery and make sure the pump pumps. She runs freaking mint. All wired up. I haven't actually played with the switch yet. I can go back and forth with my assist. And I did bleed it a little bit. Needs a lot more bleeding, but she's already pretty smooth, so she works. Pumped. We have power steering, hell yeah. All right, Clint got us this awesome kit. It's a exhaust piping test fit kit, basically. He's got a bunch of pieces here, all different shapes and everything, and they're actually marked so you can tell how many degrees off they are. And it's super trick. So we're gonna use this to figure out how we're gonna do the up pipe for the car and make sure we are out of the way of everything and that it goes through the hood perfectly. All right, show us the pipe, Clint.
Okay, we're.
Yep.
I've had to do that this morning.
We gotta go. So this is what we came up with. It's two 180s. We'll have to cut one of the 180s in half. But it looks pretty trick and it sits in there good. So we're gonna basically figure out where the rotations are and where we have to make the cuts in the actual Stainless Brothers pipe and tack it all together and make sure it's perfect before we fully weld it. All right, we got our tube pretty well set up. It's tacked besides the one piece of tape, but we figured out that we need to cut the hood right around here. So basically, I'm gonna cut this bracing out and then drill a hole, probably a 1-inch hole saw or something, right? That'd probably get us pretty close, and then we can figure out where we actually have to go. Or I have a 3-inch hole saw. Maybe we should just drill a small hole. That way we can use the hole saw and cut it oh, we're doing the fucking teardrop anyway, so
yeah,
doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I'm gonna do got it. All right, so moment of truth. We put grease on this, touch the hood. I'm gonna come back a little bit because it's pretty easy to shorten this up if we need to. And we're gonna put a 3-inch hole in this hood, hopefully in the right spot, so. Look at how good that is. Dude, like almost in it. It's almost inside of the tube. can't get closer than that. That's fucking mint. So we got a big box of goodies for the Fusion here. Go Fast Bits sent us a nice boost gauge for it. They sent us the fuel pressure regulator, if I could take it out. Fuel pressure regulator for it, since I have to run a return fuel system. I'm gonna be running their regulator. They also sent us this cool little blow-off valve that they make. This bolts right into the factory spot here, and then it doesn't recircuit, so it just goes to atmosphere, so it should sound sick. I want to get everything hooked up to actually hear how this one sounds, and then we can put this in and hear the difference. I guess it's back to wiring. So I gotta wire up this MAF sensor, that way I can tie this all up. I gotta wire up the fuel pressure, the fuel pump, so we can fire this up and hear how this badass head pipe sounds. Maybe it'll make flames. Alright, so there's no super good way to get the wiring, so I have this coming off of the engine connector here, because on the EcoBoost, the turbocharger boost pressure sensor is on the engine. This one is on the intercooler. So I tapped off this, had to run it all the way over here. Then on the fan wiring, it's also got the harness for the AC on this, and then a random connector that I don't know what it's for, but it does have a ground on it. So we have a signal return wire, then we have a 5-volt reference, and I'm able to run that down. I'm gonna clean this all up nice and plug that into the turbocharger boost pressure sensor. All right, we got the wiring all done. Next up is we need an air filter. So I've got this big old air filter from the Fox body, and as silly as it is, it actually fits underneath the hood like that, which is perfect because air comes in up through here. It's gonna come up over the radiator, so it's still gonna get fresh, cool air from under the hood. And we'll just have to trim the factory pipe and hopefully it fits. If I cut this, I think it will be big enough. So I'm gonna measure that and I should be able to clamp right onto it. Somehow this big old filter fits on there, and it looks pretty good. I gotta clean it up, but it fits under the hood, and we're still getting some cool air, so super happy about that. And I made over 700 horsepower with this filter, so she should be happy with it. We gotta get this exhaust on. Before we do that, I need to get my computer mounted. That way we can hear this thing being super rowdy. All right, so this car's gonna be like every 16-year-old dream. We got the hood pipe, we got the fake carbon bushwhacker flares on it. All right, so now we're on to the real goodies. So we hooked up with Nostrum, and they sent us a bunch of really cool stuff. I gotta talk to them though, because they sent me this, and it's really thick, and they should know I don't read. But we got a lot of goodies here. Gonna be pretty sick, because once we put these in, we're gonna make some power. Power. So this here is the high pressure fuel pump. This is like 130% over or something crazy. Don't mark my words on that, because I haven't read the paperwork like I just said. And but this will allow me to make a shit ton of power on the 85. So pretty stoked about that. It's definitely enough to blow it up, and I don't want to do that yet. Maybe if somebody builds me a motor, but I don't want to build a motor. So it's really nice. It comes with a new hard line, and then a bunch of other lines. Like, it comes with everything you'll need to plug it right in. And then we got some fancy dancy, wow, those are super tiny, some little fancy dancy injectors. I have no idea where these are in the car, how to get them in or out, but I think they're under the intake. But these injectors, I'm not really sure how big they are, but I think they're good for like 700 or 600 horsepower on the 85 or something. So way more than we're gonna push this thing, probably, because I don't expect to make that much out of a stock 4-cylinder Mustang motor. But it will be cool, and this thing makes 400 horsepower and over 400 foot-pounds of torque, because that's like better than stock Coyote territory. That's almost like full bolt-on Coyote territory, just in torques instead of fish spurs. So yeah, it's like full bolt-on EcoBoost, except for a turbo, which then makes like 550. So full bolt-on EcoBoost might be spicier than a full bolt-on Coyote. What do you think? It might be. We're just talking bolt-ons. You can't count a Whipple as a bolt-on. It's too much money. Okay, so we finally got the exhaust hooked up. I haven't heard it yet. So we got the air intake. Everything should be ready to go under the hood. I have the fuel pump jumped, but let's see what it sounds like. I wonder if we ran out of fuel.
Oh, maybe.
You know if I rate or not?
Yeah, you do. But you always do.
Okay.
You already know.
Well, I don't know if this is 87 or 93, but it's got at least a gallon in it, so it should start now. Maybe. Or we have other problems, which is definitely possible. Battery's dying. I don't know why it's not starting. Okay, we almost have the car done. It's coming out really good. I don't know why the thing didn't start, but hopefully we can figure that out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and come back next Thursday because we do a video every other Thursday. Also, don't forget we have our new store, chrisleonardracing.com. That's got all of our stuff on it. So that's got our clothing, and that also has like our power steering racks, and we're gonna be adding more to that in the future as I'm a dealer for almost everything too. So if you don't see anything on there, shoot me a message. Maybe I can help you out on some prices. So see you guys later.